Board members, come up here. Come on. Good morning. The June 6th board meeting is now called to order. Oh, there we go, using the gavel this morning. All right. Hold on. Okay, please rise for the invocation. O God, we pray to administer that which is just in all educational policies, being ever mindful of your guidance, stir us to action with love, wisdom, and understanding. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to this meeting of the Board of Education. This meeting is being televised live on AACPS TV and live streamed on the internet. General information and protocols for the meeting are posted on the sign by the doorway as you enter the room, so please make sure you read those if you have not already. Item 2.03 is approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, item 2.04 is establish agenda order. Mr. Gilliland.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the board add to the agenda item 5.11, ratification of the negotiated agreement between the Board of Education and the Association of Educational Leaders, and that we hear that item after 5.02, personnel.
Second. All those in favor? Okay. Item 5.11 has been added. Item 2.05 is recognitions, and we have a staff presentation.
Okay, good morning. I am Dot Arita, Coordinator of Academic Support, and I have the pleasure of introducing this morning's board recognition. Before I begin, I would like to ask the members of the board and Dr. Arlato to come forward. Members of the board and Dr. Arlato, this morning we are fortunate to recognize 4 outstanding AACPS seniors, all students in our AVID program, who earned the 2018 Dell Scholarship from the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation. Before we share their prestigious honor, I would also like to recognize the accomplished 2018 AVID senior class. These 527 AVID seniors were offered over $40 million in scholarship money. As many of you know, Michael Dell started his company, Dell Computers, when he was a student at University of Texas. He now contributes his time and money to education and healthcare initiatives that he believes in. The awards for Mary Anastasi of Southern High School, Catherine Truelove of Chesapeake High School, and Bailey Webb and Jasmine Gray of Old Mill High School each come with a $20,000 scholarship, a laptop computer, and a printer. As I mentioned, all 4 students are enrolled in the AVID program, which is designed to provide academic support for students in the middle and prepare them for success in college. Much like AVID, the Dell Scholars Program places great emphasis on a student's determination to succeed. The purpose of this scholarship program is to empower students to gain the knowledge, skill set, and attitude needed for success. Dell Scholars are students who demonstrate their desire and ability to overcome barriers and to achieve their goals. Each application is evaluated based on the student's determination to succeed, his or her future goals and plans to achieve them, and self-motivation in completing challenging coursework. Once selected as a Dell Scholar, students receive the scholarship to complete their post-secondary studies. It also provides students with technology, a private scholar networking community, resources, and mentoring to ensure they have the support they need to achieve their college degrees. We are so proud of these students and are excited to see what they accomplish in the years ahead. As they come forward, please join me in congratulating Bailey and Jasmine on a job well done, excepting for Mary and Catherine, who could not be here today. They are graduates and they are maybe at the beach. Are their AVID teachers, Mr. Bittinger and Miss Byer.
Let the river flow.
Proper terminology. We're going to get you guys right in the middle, and you guys can. Mr. Diane, if you can move this way for me a little bit, and you can come with the students as well.
I like to be with the students.
And we'll get you to come. You're fine. You okay? Okay. Let's go. Okay, so we'll take a few of these and let anybody else jump in that wants to take a shot.
Item 2.06 is Educator of the Month, Mr. Gilliland.
Thank you, Madam President. Today, the Board of Education recognizes an educator in our school system who has been tireless in his efforts to assist students in achieving the highest level of excellence in engineering and technology. Since the beginning of his teaching career with AACPS in 2010, Jeff Bernstein has made a tremendous impact on the Severna Park High School community. Jeff's passion for technology education has been shared through his innovative teaching styles that highlight project-based learning, collaborative groups, real-world problem-solving, Socratic questioning, and the relentless nature with which he inspires his students to push themselves beyond their comfort zones when it comes to their education. Whether on one of his many inspirational field trips or teaching foundations of technology, Intro to Robotics Engineering, Civil Engineering and Architecture, or Principles of Engineering, Jeff is the Swiss Army knife teacher in that department. Beyond his teaching duties, Jeff also sponsors the Severna Park High School Technology Student Association Club, is the Technology Student Association State Coordinator, is the sponsor for the Architecture and Civil Engineering Mentorship Club, and is one of the teachers involved with Severna Park High School's student-run business, SP Customs. Personally, Jeff has a passion for family life and photography. A new dad and a professional photographer, Jeff often works nights and weekends with clients for weddings and events and is always ready to assist in many facets of everyday school life. Whether tearing down a set with the drama department or being ever ready with a camera and a photographer's eye in assisting yearbook staff, he takes every opportunity to enhance a variety of programs outside his department, thereby adding to the extracurricular activities at Severna Park High School on a daily basis. Students who are aware of his amazing talents often seek his advice with their own passion for photography. Jeff Bernstein, you are a linchpin for your department and for Severna Park High School. You are always approachable and readily available to help any teacher, administrator, student, or parent in any manner necessary. The students who have passed through your door recognize their fortune in having such a passionate and inspiring teacher who leads through his example of determination, humor, empathy, and resilience. So for these reasons and many more, the Board of Education is honored to recognize you as Educator of the Month for June 2018. Congratulations. So we have a number of former board members who are here today, and they know the question I'm about to ask as well. So what was the trick that we got you here today?
So one of the many things that you read off, Jack Hines told me that I was going to be presenting to you guys, and to be honest with you, the first time I was in this room was when I was hired, and that was the last time that I was in this room because I've been super busy. So yeah.
We have for you a certificate and a bell that's engraved with your name on it, and certainly we'll take some pictures as we take a break.
Wonderful.
momentarily.
Thank you so much.
Actually, who's here with you today?
So I have my wife and my daughter Hadley, my mom, my dad, and Mr. Cahoon, who also teaches with me, and then my administrator, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Hines.
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Item 2.07 is Employee of the Month. Today, the Board of Education recognizes a valuable assistant whose presence in her school is important and necessary. She has been at Marley Glen for many years, and she is worth her weight in gold, especially when helping develop last-minute materials for small group instruction at her school, which is no small undertaking. Terry Geisegum, paraeducator in the speech language department, keeps busy running up and down the hallway, grabbing copies out of the printer, making copies, cutting, gluing, grabbing manipulatives out of the supply closet, putting batteries in switch-operated toys, and then assisting the teachers with their lessons every step of the way. Terry is a whiz at prompting students that need help and following behavior protocols of students who demonstrate behaviors that may interfere with their ability to participate in a lesson. Her help is invaluable to the 3 teachers in her department and in all classrooms. In addition to being an irreplaceable assistant, she is also an unbelievable asset to the school. She is always happy to fill in for an absent or unavailable staff person. She easily slips into any classroom and is immediately able to follow that classroom schedule, a specific student schedule, and handle any other situation that may arise. If an observer came into the classroom and did not know Terry was filling in for a teacher, they would never know that she didn't spend every day of the school year with those particular students. She is just that good. Last spring, Terry's presence in the school became even more critical when Marley Glen received a 19-year-old student who had just been discharged from Kennedy Krieger's neurobehavioral unit. At 6'3" and with significant self-injurious and aggressive behaviors, this student required a 4-person team at all times in order to maintain safety. Additionally, the student had one of the most elaborate behavior protocols that staff at Kennedy Krieger had ever developed. Terry was identified as one of the 10 staff members who would be trained to run the student's protocol and maintain safety. Terry showed great flexibility, filling in for staff as she was needed, even if it required switching around her normal schedule as a speech-language teaching assistant. While the behavior assistant was out on maternity leave last year, Terry stepped in to assist by entering data into the behavior database for all 35 students who had behavior intervention plans. Terry is easy to work with, accepts suggestions and direction without conflict, and has an amazing work ethic. Terry Geisigum, you are an integral part of the success of your challenging students, and you are held in high regard by all the teachers, students, and staff in the Marley Glenn family. So on behalf of the Board of Education, we are pleased to recognize you Employee of the Month for June 2018. Congratulations.
So how did they get you here this morning? They told me there was a staff meeting.
A big staff meeting at the board there to have. So, and who's here with you from Michigan?
My principal, Rick Chesnick, and the 3 lovely women that I work with in the speech department.
Well, it sounds like you are invaluable. I'm going to be out your way tomorrow for graduation, and I'll look forward to seeing everyone then. So we have a nice certificate for you and a bell, and please stay while we have some pictures taken over there. But congratulations. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Before we go on to Volunteer of the Month, I do want to give a big thanks to Tony Anzalone, who has put together another fabulous year of leading the selection committee for the Educator and Employee of the Month program. He takes this job very seriously, and he's spent many thoughtful hours engaged in the selection and recruitment process. The board particularly enjoys how the winners are often honored in relation to our many national awareness weeks and months all year, such as Read Across America, National School Counseling Week, and National School Lunch Week. So, Tony, the board thanks you for all you do, and we all hope that you will continue all your great practices into the 2018-19 school year. And item 2.08 is Volunteer of the Month. Ms. Sasso.
The nature of volunteerism implies going above and beyond expectations. At some point, all volunteers make a conscientious decision to help others, often without prompting and certainly without material reward. This decision alone is worthy of honor and celebration. However, there are some volunteers who have such a magic, such an unwavering commitment to excellence in service that they manage to stand out even more. Our Volunteer of the Month, Mr. Lee Rosenthal, is indeed this kind of standout. Today we honor him for over 6 years of dedicated service to the entire Old Mill academic community, including Old Mill Middle School South, Old Mill Middle School North, and Old Mill High School. Mr. Christian Thomas, principal of Old Mill Middle School South, recalls meeting Mr. Rosenthal in 2011 when he volunteered to coach a united programming team for students of Old Mill Middle North and South during the Old Mill Mesa competition. After leading the team to success within the competition, Mr. Rosenthal established a relationship with the schools that has flourished ever since. A member of the United States Marine Corps, Mr. Rosenthal is no stranger to selfless service. His dedication to supporting science and technology in the Old Mill complex has fostered a culture of interest in computer technology, coding, and cyber defense. In fact, he has been a huge part of the development of related programs and activities for Old Mill students and families. According to Ms. Marie Hartman, the STEM department chair for Old Mill Middle School South, Mr. Rosenthal has been the mastermind behind the school's annual Cyber Defender Expo, which is a community-based opportunity for students and families to explore areas of computer technology and careers in cyber defense. Mr. Rosenthal has served as chair of the now popular event that has occurred in the spring for the past 3 years. And Ms. Hartman proudly detailed his hard work, sharing that each year he pools resources and networks with industry professionals to secure donations. And he also finds volunteers to support and run the event. Mr. Rosenthal's leadership, the Cyber Defense Expo has grown to host over 450 attendees, and it has helped establish a number of valuable community partnerships for the STEM program and the entire Old Mill School community. In addition to all of the time and commitment Mr. Rosenthal has dedicated to coaching students, coordinating events, and fostering a culture of technological engagement at Old Mill, he has managed to find time to support the marching band. According to band director Brendan Meisner, Mr. Rosenthal has been an indispensable support to the Old Mill High Patriot Pride Marching Band, the Old Mill Steel Drum Program, and the Old Mill Winter Guard. Ms. Hartman joins Mr. Meisner in celebrating all of Mr. Rosenthal's support as she claims him a man of talent, commitment, and dedication to helping youth find a path in the worlds of both music and cyber defense. Mr. Rosenthal, we thank you for your service to our country, to the fields of science, music, and technology, and to the students, teachers, and families of Anne Arundel County Public Schools. We are honored to celebrate you as a Volunteer of the Month. Please come forward and accept the certificate and a bell as token of our appreciation. Okay, what excuses did they use this to get you here?
None. My wife just told me don't ask questions and show up because she knew she couldn't trick me.
That's great to have a wife like that, huh? Who's here sharing with you today? Hopefully your wife.
My
What's your
wife,
first one? Yes.
my wife, my daughter, and of course Ms. Hartman and Mr. Meisner and all the other people that have helped along the way.
Well, we would like to thank you very much for all your service. And not only do you get the certificate, but you get the bell so that you can call them into session. Awesome. Your word, which you can keep. And please stay afterwards because we'll be taking pictures.
Okay.
Thank you very,
Thank you
very
very
So,
much.
item 2.09 is a special board recognition. Over 40 years ago, or about 40 years ago, a young man came and served on the board, and that was Mr. P. Tyson Bennett, Esquire, and he served as a board member from 1975 to 1977. Then in 1983, he returned to serve the Board of Education as our lead counsel, and he has been serving us ever since. Mr. Bennett is entering into well-deserved retirement, and we want to take this occasion to thank him for his many years of wise counsel. He, as someone said, Tyson has forgotten more education law than anyone else has ever known, and in entirety. His historical knowledge, his calm demeanor, his great wisdom has been so invaluable to this board for decades, and we have been honored to have him serving us, and we are very, very grateful for all of you have given to the school system. He has been a quiet force in behind that many in the public don't know and see, but we cannot begin to tell you all that he has done and given to this school system over the decades. Ms. Nally.
Well, Tyson and I first met strolling our babies around Annapolis. I won't tell you how long ago that was. But it has been my pleasure to serve on the school board with Tyson as our lead counsel since for the past 11 years. It's really, really going to be hard. It is hard to say goodbye. And I want to thank you, Tyson, for all that you have done for Anne Arundel County Public Schools and for our children. You have made an impact that is unmatched. To keep from crying, I've just written you a personal note that I'll give you later because I can't keep going.
A number of former board members who served and benefited from Tyson's wisdom have come to recognize and honor him as well. I want to introduce them: Andrew Prusky, Ned Carey, Emily Brandenburg, Teresa Burge, Debbie Ritchie, Tricia Johnson, Solon Webb, Tony Spencer, and Allison Pickard, and we thank you all for coming as well. Mr. Sasso.
I would like to say to Tyson, just remember that your wisdom and knowledge is still going to be called upon, even though you think you're retiring. Yeah. Those words come from another attorney, okay?
We will have a special board presentation in a few minutes, but first we have some other presentations to give to you. If Delegate Carey, Ms. Brandenburg, and Councilman Pruski would all come up to the front.
Maybe ask Tyson to come up.
Oh, and Tyson, you come up too, please.
Yeah.
Good morning, Madam President, Mr. Vice President, members of the board. I think, first of all, I think this is the first time that I've ever been on this side since I've been back here. But let me say that as a member of the Anne Arundel County delegation, the House of Delegates, I bring a citation here for Tyson today. And, you know, my 8 years on the board, Tyson, you were there. I mean, you took us through a lot in those 8 years with new superintendents coming and going, through all of the issues and the just, how do we do this, Tyson? And it was always calm, direct, and good, and right on target every time. So with that, let me just read you. I have a Maryland General Assembly official citation. Be it hereby known, well, I'm going to have my glasses here. Be it hereby known to all that sincerest congratulations are offered to P. Tyson Bennett, Esquire, in recognition of his 35 years of dedicated service to the Anne Arundel County Public School Board of Education and to all of the students of Anne Arundel County. Tyson. I did ask Tyson when he was a board member if this was the building that they were in. He said, yeah, you could still smell the new paint when he got here.
Tyson. I can almost say exactly what Delegate Carey said. Thank you for your service, and thank you. During my time at the board, we went through a superintendent search and countless. Tyson, what do we do here? And always unwavering and fantastic advice that kept us out of a lot of trouble. So thank you.
My pleasure.
On behalf of the county executive, I would like to issue an executive citation. The citizens of Anne Arundel County, Maryland, salute Tyson Bennett in recognition of over 40 years of dedicated service to the students, staff, and employees of the Anne Arundel County Public School System. Your contributions to the school board stand on their own merit and serve as a record of your unwavering commitment to the citizens of Anne Arundel County. We extend to you our sincere appreciation and best wishes upon your retirement. Stephen R. Shue. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. As Delegate Carey has stated, this is the first time I've been back here, so it's interesting. I was going to get up there and pound the gavel at 10 o'clock, but I didn't want to make the board get upset. But I do want to start off, as we have presentations, Vice President Gilliland said this, that, you know, how did they get you here today? And I would say that to Tyson, but he's been doing this for 40 years. So certainly it's not the point. But many of you don't know is that Tyson actually ran for state senate. So we never know. After this service, he may be getting in the political arena. We never know. But regardless, I think the points that were made today is that you have someone who served unwaveringly, and whenever you needed him, whether it was 9 o'clock on a Sunday, I remember making that call to you, and these board members can attest, usually the first one here. And typically, anytime there was a legal question asked, you provided it in a professional response. It was correct. And you also kept us in line with Robert's Rules of Order, which is very important, as you know, for any institution. I personally want to thank you. The citizens want to thank you. But I also want to add the work that you do outside. What many of you don't know is he represents homeowners associations and people who typically can't afford things. So obviously that service goes beyond what he's done at the board. That just attests to your character. But on behalf of the County Council, I want to present to you for your service for 33 years of association with the Anne Arundel Board, certainly your time as a board member and serving in the community. Well-deserved, a happy and rewarding retirement. Thank you so much, Tyson. We appreciate it.
before we head down to the well for pictures, does anyone else from the board want to speak before we go down while you have the mic? All right. Tyson, if you would join. So first, we have a plaque for you presented to P. Tyson Bennett, Esquire, in recognition of nearly 40 years of wise counsel and dedicated service to the Board of Education of Anne Arundel County and to the children and employees of Anne Arundel County Public Schools.
Thank you very much.
So, your hair is very dark in that picture.
Thank you for sharing that with the world.
With the world. It's, you know, you've grown with us over the years. And then we have another special presentation for the board. Miss Nally, I'll get you to hold that up.
Without crying?
Without crying. You can cry. We are naming the board caucus room the P. Tyson Bennett Board Caucus Room in your honor. And we have one of these plaques as well, and we're going to put it above your chair in the corner of the caucus room, so you will always be with us.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Just after a line of
Okay.
Just like that. Okay.
Behind us. And I also want to introduce Tyson's wife, Chris, who's also here.
And a former employee.
And a former employee of Anne Arundel Public Schools. Yes, please come up for as well. Add you in.
Okay, everybody, that looks pretty good. You guys have done this before, haven't you? Okay, looking this way, please. Thank you.
And Mr. Bennett, would you like to say anything? You don't have to.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I will tell you from my heart that if this were my decision alone, we wouldn't be having this event today, because I would be staying on and on and on as long as the board would keep me. But my law firm has a policy that when an attorney turns 70, it's retirement time. And I turned 70 in November, and so I am now required to retire from the firm. And the firm technically represents the Board of Education. And so one of my partners from the firm, Darren Burns, will carry on the firm's service to the board and to the citizens of this county. I wish him the best of success, and I feel strongly that that this board will continue to be served well by Darren in the legal services that he provides. thank you all very much. And by the way, I'm not going anywhere. I'm opening up my own office on my own, and I won't take any cases against the Board of Education, I can assure you.
Before we go on, I know some of our former board members do like to speak on the mic, so if anyone else would like to come up and speak, please do.
Good morning, Mrs. Hummer, former for you. Excuse, I'll get to you in a second. Dr. Olado, members of the board, your staff and faculty, and first I'd like to say congratulations to everyone who's received an award this morning. I had the honor of working on the school board with Tyson from 1999 to 2004. And I've been on various boards around the city, the state, even around the country. And he was the most professional person we had ever had. There came a point where some of the board members wanted to put it out for other people to put the names in they had to be the school board solicitor. And I was bothered by it, but it happened. And I'm glad it happened, though, because it proved that no one could touch him. No one could touch that firm. So you're in great hands with Darren, because I've known Darren as well. I've known this young man right here when he was younger on the school board. Pep Nally, my sister right here. Some of you have just gotten to know Mr. Butcher. You have an excellent person keeping you above water. Tyson won't let you down. Darren will not let you down. But I can't say how much I'm honored to stand here to speak on his behalf. And I have some hello to you from former Superintendent Dr. Carol Parham. I spoke to her the other day. She told me to give her best to you. So that's all I have to say, but my God, it feels good standing here and not sitting there.
Good morning, Madam President, Mr. Vice President, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent. I want to just take a moment to thank Tyson as well. He does so much that the public doesn't know. He sets board members straight and set us all straight a lot. He always reminded us if we were going a little bit out of bounds and would bring us back in. But never was too forceful about it. He let us know what the right thing to do was, and we then, of course, would do the right thing, because who would want to disappoint Tyson? He taught me how to be a board member, how to keep things confidential. There's always, every year at the beginning of a new board term, the talk, Tyson's talk. This is how we do things. This is what you need to know. When you leave this room, you don't talk about what happens here. And because it came from Tyson, everyone respected it. I don't know that it would have had the same impact had it come from someone else. So Tyson, thank you for everything that you have done for the board members, and for everyone in Anne Arundel County. Your work has been greatly appreciated, and we will miss you.
I won't take a long time. I just couldn't pass up the chance to thank Tyson for his wisdom and his institutional knowledge and his calm demeanor, which was so important so many times. When I first walked into that caucus room on my first day of being a board member, there were two people that I met that are probably the two most influential people in the entire school system, and that's Molly Connolly and Tyson Bennett. So thank you, Tyson, and all the best in your future. Thank you.
thank you to everyone. And we have 2 more items, and then we'll be taking pictures on the hallway, so folks don't go anywhere just yet. Item 2.11 is the PTA report.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Vanessa Rivera, and I am the incoming Anne Arundel County PTA president. I wanted to give you an update on what we are currently working on. This coming Saturday, June 9, we will be hosting our summer leadership training for all local PTA units. AAC PTA will use this training to introduce and build support for the Anne Arundel County Public Schools' new strategic plan. The training will also include a social media and online safety presentation led by Sarah Kivett. We've had a lot of interest on this training so far. We have about 60 people registered for this training. We've had 2 PTAs who have Spanish speakers, so we've reached out to a bilingual facilitator to be on site, so we're excited to partner with that. So that is it. We're looking forward to a new start, new year, and thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Item 2.12 is the CAC report.
Good morning. We have just wrapped up our year as well. We just had our final meeting of the year on Monday, 2 days ago. And as many of you may know, my husband's active duty military and we are being reassigned this summer, so we're moving on to California. So this will be my last report to you, but I leave the board in the CAC in good hands. I would like to introduce our new slate of officers for next year. We had our elections on Monday as well. Our new chair is Brandon Gully, who you've met. He's from the Broadneck cluster, and he has done a brief for the CAC before, so he is the incoming chair. Our current vice chair, Kelly Purnell, will be continuing, which is great. She will provide good continuity. She's from the South River cluster. And then our new secretary is Holly Slack from the Severna Park cluster, and she will be taking over for Greg Novak. I do want to take a minute to publicly recognize him. He's been our secretary for as long as I've been on the CAC, and even before that, he just termed out. But he did an amazing job of taking sometimes chaotic 2-hour meetings and turning them into very concise informational minutes every meeting, and with like 24-hour turnarounds. So thank you to him. He's from the Glen Burnie cluster. To finish up the year, I have a few general overall highlights. One is that this was the first year that, due to a decision that you had last year to enable us to extend our 2-year term to a 3rd year, for those that were interested, we have done that, and I think that was a very positive change. So thank you for considering that and implementing that. I think it will do great things for continuity, especially as we have so much turnover year to year anyway, so we appreciate that. Our Facebook page is up and going, as well as official email accounts by cluster. Those were set up by Brandon, and I know that he really has a mind to increase our social media presence and to give some more continuity and help with turnovers with those. So I think those have been really positive developments. I do want to say, since this is my last meeting here, that I just want to thank Dr. Arlotto, the board, the staff. As I look around the room, there's actually a lot of people that I've had the opportunity to interact with, and so I appreciate it. We're going to a much smaller school district, and so it'll be a lot of changes, but I really welcome the opportunity, especially for military families, to be able to come in here and jump in and serve. We really appreciate that, because it's important to get plugged in and to serve the community. I do have an update on our 4 subcommittees, but I am watching the clock. And so, Mrs. Hummer, I want to be sensitive to timeline. You have it in writing. Would you like me to give a brief overview, or I can just list the subcommittees? I just want to yield to you with respect to timing.
This is your time.
Okay, I appreciate that. So I just want to keep us, I know there's a lot of important things going on this time of year. Okay, so I will try to be brief. So those were overall updates that I just gave, but we did have 4 very vibrant committees working this year on items that we heard of interest from the board and Dr. Arlotto, as well as things that were generated within committee. So I'll give you a brief overview of those 4 topics. The first was on overcrowding and infrastructure. This was a new area of emphasis for us this year, and the committee formed in response to the school system's rapid population increase. So that's not a surprise to anyone in the room. In fact, my youngest goes to Crofton Elementary. They just had a beautiful renovation maybe 3 years ago, and my son just told me today that they're having to put mobile units out to accommodate the continuing increase in population. So it's very, very much a timely emphasis. We know that's largely due to real estate development and then the accompanying budget and infrastructure challenges. So what our committee did was to investigate public sources of information on school enrollment, population, and growth, to look at creative overcrowding solutions implemented across the nation, and to keep track of recent and encouraging, frankly, county legislation and action towards reducing or maybe minimizing some of that development. There are two primary recommendations I'll mention now, though there are more in the written report that you have. One is that as the committee did their work, there appears to be contradictory information in public sources of information on school enrollment numbers. So just as a quick example, and there's more in the document, we have the boundary feeder overview links on the AACPS website. And those don't always agree with some of the real estate development population production numbers. So that some of that information's in the report, but I think that will be important maybe to investigate what those discrepancies are and see if there are things we can do to correct those. The second, which I think is something that's really cool, the Greater Severna Park Council, and you may be familiar with this, they have a watch list in the Severna Park cluster area that monitors local developments and plans that enables the public to keep apprised of those things and maybe get involved as necessary. So we are recommending a way of implementing that either countywide or maybe throughout other clusters. They're generating a list of instructions on how to generate that watch list, and so that will be coming from our committee as well. The second committee that we had was one on equity. This is a long-standing committee, and we think it's important that it is a continuing committee to show our commitment to equitable education and opportunities for all students in our school district. And one of our goals is to help engage the community and let them know about what is going on in the county. We were pleased to have Dr. Maisha Gillens come out and present to us, since we learned about her initiatives, including in professional development was a big focus of hers, I think, this last year. Two primary recommendations coming out of that committee. One is that we will appoint a representative to attend the Equity Advisory Committee meetings. And I think that's going to be really important to just help keep us engaged. So that's something we've committed to do next year. And the second is something that has come up was trying to make sure that we have representation of families at our alternative schools. So the alternative schools sometimes don't have PTOs, PTAs, or any sort of parent advocacy group, and we're wondering if there's a way, and they don't have a CAC rep, for example, either. We just want to see if there's a way that we can integrate those families from some of those alternative schools. So those were two: overcrowding, infrastructure, equity. The third one, social emotional learning. I could talk about this all day. We heard from Dr. Arlotto the fact that many of our students are in crisis. This is really a pivotal time in terms of social emotional learning, and we happen to have CAC members with expertise in mental illness, and so it was really timely for them to work. So the report that you will receive, it is being revised because it's a longer one, is really the culmination of 2 years of effort. And I'll just briefly say, I won't go into all of it, you can take a look at the written report, but one of their goals was to learn more about what we do. So what are the services and education offered by our county, as well as policies in place to support homeschool partnerships and communication. So toward that end, early in the year, we had the Director of Student Services, Ryan Voigtlin. I hope I am not, is that close enough? Okay. Presented our November meeting, which we very much appreciated, gave us a lot of information, and then our committee members met with him and his team several times. We're so appreciative. I know that took a lot of time, and I'll just announce one development that we're really excited about that I think was just decided, or we just found out about it a week or so ago, that Stacy Pellegrin is going to work with CRASC. Is it okay if I mention this? Okay. I think it's exciting. Okay, so he can correct anything that I say that's incorrect, but he's going to work with CRASC to produce short video clips on social emotional learning topics and release those over the next year. So it's a work in progress. Oh, right. Sorry. I just tasked her. Right. So, yes, so there will be a group, and like I said, this is in development, but it is in response to our desire to communicate more broadly these issues to our community. And so we're so thankful that the staff at large, not just Stacy, will be working on those developments. So thank you. That's right. I apologize. Yes. So that was my quick and dirty. There are many other things in the report that I'll let you take a look at. The fourth committee that we had was one on advocacy. And this, similar to overcrowding and infrastructure, was really spurred by the overcrowding and budget concerns that happened this year. This was an exciting year, as everyone is aware. And so we became interested in how we can really support our schools. Relatedly, we wanted to make sure that we as a CAC were doing the best job we could, enabling two-way communication between the board, the staff, through our committee, to our clusters and our families. And so two primary things moving forward. One is, and Brandon will take the lead with this, is that we're going to prioritize training and guidance for our new members next year, as well as making sure we're disseminating best practices across clusters for our communication efforts, both getting the word out on important policies and things going on in the school board, and then feedback back to the board. So that is an initiative that we will be working on. There are some things that have been developed towards that effort that you'll see in attachments in the report. There's an informational brochure that's been developed, a frequently asked questions resource, so we're developing some things to help our new members. And then the second thing I want to mention is that we are interested in revisiting the member expectations with the board. This was something that we talked about on Monday with Ms. Nally, but we want to make sure that as a CAC we're being as effective as we can. And so we are interested in feedback from you on what we could do better and how we can enable that interaction. So we thank you for that. We anticipate that committee will continue work next year, as well as some of the other committees, including equity especially. I think we have a heart to make sure that is a continuing focus. And I'm excited. I think the committee's in great hands. And maybe I'll be back in a couple years when we get reassigned again. So thank you.
Melanie, we want to thank you. You have been just a wonderful advocate for all the students of AACPS, and we love that you jumped in as soon as you got here, and you have just been devoted to the schools, and you've really made an impact. So thank you for your service, and I wish you well on the new posting.
That's right.
So,
thank you very much.
Ms. Nally.
Well, I had the delight to attend the final CAC meeting of the year, and I have watched this CAC. Mrs. Ritchie remembers how long ago we really revitalized, thanks to Mrs. Ritchie and others on the board at the time, the CAC. And the other night, it was just like, this is what we meant. This is what we wanted. We wanted a true advisory board. We wanted to hear. We wanted all of Anne Arundel County represented. We wanted to hear from the clusters. And with your ears to the ground, you have been able to bring us successes and things that we need to work on. I was extremely impressed, and for 2 hours I just sat there thinking, oh, I'm so happy that this is happening. To hear the discussion and the positive kinds of things that the forward thinking. And Melanie, you've led this. I want to thank you so much for your involvement. And Brandon, I cannot thank you, Mr. Colley, so much for continuing this. It was exciting, and the board needs this kind of advisory group, and you absolutely have gone beyond our expectations. I was thrilled. I was also happy when I think it was Kathy Flaherty talked about, and I had not heard of this, Partners for Success, and it is a special education helping parents navigate the special education process. And I was very thrilled with this, and she shared a brochure, and I'm going to leave it in the boardroom, but I think this is really necessary, and so all of these kinds of things were coming out and discussed at, and thank you so much for all you've done, and thanks to all of the CAC members. And again, I know Mrs. Ritchie and I thank you too, because it was a hard work.
Well, I appreciate that. I will say that pamphlet will be in our minutes for the meeting, so if people would like more information, and I'll put in a little plug, we are currently recruiting members for next year. So if you are interested in serving with the CAC, we have a wonderfully diverse group of voices, and we'd love to see your application. Thank you.
And I skipped item 2.10, school and community highlights. Anyone from the board have anything? They jump for the buttons. Mr. Ryan.
I just want to wish Phoenix Academy a hearty congratulations on winning the burger prize over at Iron Rooster. So congratulations to Phoenix. If we weren't having burgers for lunch today, Diane, I'd be heading over. It is a hamburger topped with a latke and bacon marmalade. So we're gonna make a field trip next week.
Ms. Nally.
Just a brief, this is graduation time, and we, all board members, have been very busily attending graduations, and I think it's probably the most exciting time besides school visits, and graduations are just so uplifting. I attended the Phoenix graduation, and it was exciting when the principal, Mrs. Clark, was in tears as she said goodbye to these graduates and shared their successes and outlook for the future. It really made my heart sing. Then I attended Chesapeake High School, and my goodness, how impressive. Impressive with the entire the graduation ceremony, the speeches, all of everything that happened there. I'm very proud of what has happened. I know that school has undergone some difficulties, but let me tell you, those graduates are out to. They are going to be successful and well represented of Anne Arundel County Public Schools. I have 3 more graduations to attend. I'm looking forward to them. These are my last graduations as I go off the board in November, so I'm sure I'll cry at South River because those are my baby Davidsonville kids. And but anyway, thank you very much.
And I do want to shout out, we have all been attending graduations, but we had a real special one last week when Chesapeake Science Point graduated, and Miss Cole, our lovely student board member, is now an official graduate. And now we will take a break and go out and for pictures in the hallway. Board members, come on, let's get started.
We can slide those mics around.
Okay. Okay, the meeting is now called back to order. We want to go ahead. We have public comment, and we have some young people here who want to speak, but they really want to get back to their school for field day. So we want to go ahead and let them share their thoughts, and so they can get out of here and go have some fun. So, hold on just a minute, guys. So, anyone wishing to speak on an item not on today's agenda may offer testimony during this public comment portion of the meeting. Speakers are allotted 3 minutes each and may not allocate their time to others. A tone will sound when time has expired. The board asks that comments remain civil and appropriate for the various audiences that may be watching or viewing this meeting. Student-specific and personnel matters are confidential and cannot be discussed in this forum. It is not the board's general practice to engage in question and answer session with speakers. For the record, please give your name before speaking. Handouts should be given to the board assistant. And first up is Jackson, Gavin, and Lily.
Hi, my name is Jackson Vitok. I'm in 4th grade at Cape St. Clair Elementary School. There are a lot of things you need to learn in 4th grade. I have 29 students in my class, and it's hard to concentrate on my work. The teacher doesn't have that much time to answer questions because of all the kids. My brother is going to 4th grade next year. If my school doesn't get another teacher, there will be a lot more kids in a class than this year. If that happens, it'll be even harder for kids to do their work or get attention from their teacher. I hope that you will give Cape St. Clair another 4th grade teacher. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I'm Gavin Vitok, and I'm a 3rd grader, and next year I want more than 4 teachers. Why? Because we already have 25 students, and it's already hard to focus, but if we have more, then it will be harder and more complicated. So if we have more teachers, then there will be less students, and that will make it easier for everyone to focus. Thank you for your time.
My name is Lily Morrow, and I'm a 3rd grader at Cape St. Clair Elementary. I don't like the idea of only having 4 teachers in the 4th grade. I don't like this because in my class there are 25 students, and it's hard to focus. So with 31 or 32, I can't even imagine how difficult it will be. It will be louder, and there will be more distractions. The teachers will be tired because of all the kids. That is why I'm asking you to give us a 5th teacher for Cape St. Clair 4th graders. Thank you for your time.
Great job, guys. Thank you.
My name is Heather. I'm Lily's mom. So we are also write-in letters and submitting our petition to the county council. I think that the well-being of the students are all of our #1 priority. This is Amy. She's Jackson and Gavin's mom. We're concerned because we don't think that 31 to 32 students per 4th grade class will foster a beneficial learning environment. It will be challenging not only for the kids to learn, but also the teachers to teach. I also want you guys to keep in mind the kids who, with that volume of students, it will be challenging enough for a child with no cards stacked against them. But I also want you to consider the kids with special learning needs and the kids who don't have the ability to have the material reinforced at home, whether their parents don't understand the material. I know that the curriculum has changed quite a bit even since I was in the 3rd grade, but also the kids who have parents who work long hours, the kids who have parents who have multiple children and can't dedicate a lot of time to each child at home. So we strongly are asking you and pleading you to consider a 5th teacher for the 4th grade class at Cape St. Clair Elementary, because as it currently stands, 31 to 32 students, that's at least, and that's not even accounting if more students move into the Cape. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Is there, we also have a copy of our petition. Is there a preferred person to turn it into?
Give it to Ms. Howell over here, and she'll make sure we get it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And y'all have fun at field day. Next up, I have cards for Catherine Holman, Selma Edwards, and Kevin Vasquez.
Good late morning to the distinguished board and Dr. Arlotto. It's a hard bunch of kids to follow right there. I come before you now not only as the PTSA president at Corcoran, but as an 11-year volunteer with the school system, a mother of 3 with 1 child with a 504 plan. I am coming to you now to ask, after votes were cast and tallied, for you to listen to the concerns of the teachers, students, and parents of Corcoran Middle School. In light of the email I sent on Monday, and I appreciate your response, Ms. Hummer, I wanted you to hear that I was discouraged from voicing the concerns of our school directly to the board and instead listen to our administrator and let him bring them to your attention. This is the 3-page list that you should have received after our January 23rd meeting. And until May 31st, we were told that we had another year to convince you, the board, that Point Pleasant was the best option for Richard Henry Lee's renovation. When I took this position with the PTSA, it was my first year in this type of leadership role, and I took the job seriously to work together to hold the interests of the school, teachers, and students to form a relationship that was cohesive in every way. I depended on the leadership of our principal in the possible use of Corcoran Middle School as the swing space for Richard Henry Lee because we were on the same page. Well, I've been asked now by the students, many parents, and many teachers who feel that they've had no voice at this board to express Corcoran's extreme hesitation with having Richard Henry Lee at our school. Please do not misconstrue them for us not wanting Richard Henry Lee to have these renovations. Open classrooms in the 80s and 90s were proven ineffective, and it has been a long time coming, and we are thrilled for them to have this renovation. But I'm here now to try to understand why the board is picking Corcoran as an option for the swing space when at 3.6 miles away is Point Pleasant Elementary School with a resource staff that could easily be housed in our building, as we'd love to have the extra adults to help with a struggling and often challenging student population if they need to move. Despite what the parents of Richard Henry Lee stated, our major concerns stem from the fact that we cannot fully separate these schools. The safety of the elementary students should be the #1 concern, and I don't think that that's being taken into account with their population being housed with middle school students. Just because we look good on paper and have the room to hold these students, anyone who spends any kind of time at Corcoran knows that this is a terrible mistake. Do the parents of these young students want their students to be exposed to often vulgar outbursts, fistfights, as I've witnessed there as a volunteer? Because it happens every day. It happened yesterday while I was there for 5 minutes. Why would we expose these young, impressionable students to this when they could be in their own space? I saw this happen in the very beginning of the school year when we had Wes Adams come and speak in front of each separated class over lunch, that it was an embarrassment how these students treated adults. I just want to encourage you to look into Point Pleasant. There are many things that could happen with this renovation that could put us off of the regular schedule anyway, digging into an old school, and I just wanted to plead our case. Thank you.
Mr. Reinhardt.
Thank you, Madam President. Just for clarity, are we referring to the Resource Center at Point Pleasant or the new Point Pleasant Elementary? The Resource Center.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Holman. Ms. Edwards.
Hi, I'm Selma Edwards. I have 3 children in public school. One of them is in high school, and the 2 other kids are at Bates Middle School, all of them in IB and PVA programs. And I have been extremely happy with the public school system. I couldn't be happier. Academically speaking, I think they are having an incredible experience. My happiness, though, ended when my oldest joined Annapolis High School. Annapolis High has a great curriculum. He's in the IB program. It's fantastic. However, the environment there is, with words that I heard from other teachers, a zoo. It's very hard to concentrate. It's interesting to see these kids talking about size of classes, because wait until they get to high school, it gets a lot worse. And after a lot of incidents that my son witnessed, the one that really caught my attention, and I thought I had to do something, was when a child was stabbed by another child with a pocket knife. And unfortunately, my son saw that child being wheeled out of the school covered in blood. he was very, very upset about it, and I decided to meet with the principal and understand better what was going on at Annapolis High. My feeling after meeting with the principal, as well as the SRO from the school, is that unfortunately there are about 5 low-income housing projects that bleed or that feed into that school. Unfortunately, the violence is coming from those 5 projects. And unfortunately, what happens when they are home often bleeds into the school. And Ms. Cheatham, who is an incredible professional, has a tie alliance with the police officers, so she knows if something happens at the project at night, she knows to be prepared that it might bleed into the school, so they are aware of that. However, when I see the size of the school getting bigger and bigger, and these students, unfortunately, being with each other at home and at the school, I'm not sure it's the best opportunity for any of them, including the other kids. So the violence is extremely high there. There are fights every day, or maybe I'm exaggerating, but every week there are fights at Annapolis High School. Every week there is an incident there. And my son feels that this is normal. This is not normal. So something needs to be done. I'm hoping that you all have plans for what to be done, because it is not working at this point. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Mr. Vasquez. It's kind of, okay. So.
Is there something wrong? Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Well, good morning, board members and Superintendent Arlotto. My name, for the record, is Kevin Vasquez, and today is the last day that I address you as the leader of the Axiom Club, so I'm sure you guys will all be happy to see my beautiful face gone. I am very proud to pass on my leadership to 2 very capable young women who cannot be here today because of quarterly testing. I come before you to offer the Axiom Club School Safety Platform, which consists of our solutions for school safety. It should be noted that some of these solutions require funding and some don't. Additionally, some of the solutions should have been done already. To give a brief overview, our school safety platform consists of solutions regarding teacher training, student training, communication, equipment, personnel, group masses, and securing entrances. I've given your board assistant print copies of our platform. In addition, you will receive a copy through email later today. The public will be able to view this document on www.axiomclub.org. To conclude, here's what the Axiom Club expects from the Board of Education. That an actionable plan for school safety released by the Anne Arundel County Board of Education to the public by the beginning of next school year, and consisting of some of the points in this platform I've given you, be released before the end of next school year. In no way is this an unreasonable or inappropriate expectation. The Axiom Club will be paying close attention to AACPS over this summer to see if this expectation or request is met. To be clear, this is not an issue that you can wait out and not one that we will forget. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez, and best of luck in your next endeavors. So, is there any other public comment at this time? Okay. All right. Next item is consent items, award of contracts. Do I have a motion to bundle items 4.01 through 4.14? All those in favor? Okay. Do I have a motion to move this item from information to action? All those in favor? Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend the Board of Education approve the contracts as listed on today's agenda, 4.01 through 4.14.
All right. Are there any board questions or comments regarding these items? Ms. Sasso.
I just have a question based on what Mr. Vasquez said on item 4.14, security cameras, equipment, and services. Do those have to do with the plans that our county executive and the police and everything like that has put together for security?
Yes, ma'am. For the record, Alex Checkno, Chief Operating Officer. Yes, they are intertwined. This contract supports the security camera installation, as well as the maintenance and the capacity to broadcast our security video feeds, not just to our security office here, but to our public safety law partners.
Does that also include the double doors that will be put in the schools?
Not this contract. This contract is for the camera aspect of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other board questions? Is there any public questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? All right. Motion passed. Thank you, Mr. Sheknovich. Item 5.01 is administrative personnel appointments. This is an action item. Do I have a? No, I don't have to do anything. Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend the board approve the personnel listed on the attached sheets be promoted and or appointed.
Okay. Are there any board questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? Motion passes. Item 5.02 is personnel. Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend that the board approve the actions as stipulated on the attached sheets.
Okay. Ms. Nally.
Well, there are many 40 retirements listed, but one stands out to me personally, and that's Dr. Kubik, and I want to extend my thanks. And you will be missed greatly, and I still wanted you to pass on your wonderful graduation robe, and I might just have to go to Maryland and get my doctorate to wear that gorgeous robe. But anyway, congratulations. Have a wonderful retirement. I know you'll miss us. Okay. And she said something the other day. She said, we were at a graduation. She said, I just love Anne Arundel County Public Schools. She just kind of spontaneously said it. So thank you. We love you too.
And I do have to add, Ms. Nally said there's people in here who've worked for 40 years. Ms. Kubik has not been working here 40 years. I just want to point that out.
No, she's a non-retiree.
So, Mr. Reinhardt.
Thank you, Madam President. I had the pleasure of working with many math teachers in my time here at the board as a math resource teacher, and I just wanted to say how sad I am to see several of the people I worked with leave, including Mr. Wilburn at Arundel, and especially Miss Diane Hilditch and Miss Mary Huey from Glen Burnie High. And I did learn a fun fact about Miss Huey while reading the history of Glen Burnie at the last graduation. She is the daughter of one of the original students of Glen Burnie High School. So how about that? So best of wish to everybody in their retirement. Smooth sailing.
I have to say, for Glen Burnie has 5 or 6 people retiring who've worked over 30 years. Some of them over 40 years, all at Glen Burnie High School. So it's a testament to the community of Glen Burnie, but it's also going to be a massive loss for them in the master teachers that are heading out this year. Like Ms. Kubik, who's literally sailing into the sunset away from us. So, Mr. Gilliland.
Thank you, Madam President. And I just want to echo so many great educators after decades of service retiring. And again, like last month, we're looking at hundreds and hundreds of years of service. But I just want to add, for Dr. Kubik, I was never a student in your class or a student in your school when you were principal, but I think it's fair to say I've been schooled by you. And I think the footprint you're leaving for this school system is tremendously large, and I know we have a great person filling your shoes in Dr. Lucarelli, but the impact that you've had on the lives of countless students is something that we will always continue to owe you a debt of gratitude. And I do know what you're doing next, and I'm so jealous, and in many ways. And I just Madam President, if okay, a moment of personal privilege, something that is sailing appropriate that I'd like to give you.
That's funny.
I don't know whether to open this or not.
All right. All those in.
That's a big Virgie there, Mr. Gillen. Oh, cool.
Don't give up the ship. All right. All those in favor? All right, motion passes. Oh, that's true. Could we vote no on your retirement? So, item 5.1 is an action item, ratification of the negotiated agreement between the Board of Education and the Association of Educational Leaders. And we do have staff, I think. Or do we not have staff? Okay. Hold on. Hold on just 1 minute while we get the appropriate personnel. All right, we're going to jump ahead. Oh, no, we're going to jump ahead and we will come right back to that. Okay, we can't do that one either, so hold on. That staff is not there either. So, well, look, we could jump ahead to. Can we do that? Program. Okay, we are going to jump ahead to item 5.08, new course approvals. This is an information to action item. Do I have a motion to move this from information to action?
So moved.
All those in favor? Okay, Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend that the board approve these courses for the beginning with the 2018-2019 school year. While there is, your yellow sheet is marked with no presentation as this wonderful team is assembling, I know that our wonderful coordinator, Skip, has got a couple words of welcome.
President Hummer, Vice President Gilliland, Dr. Lotto. For the record, I'm Skip Lee, the Director of Curriculum, and I'm honored to be before you to bring 5 new courses that have come before the Grading and Transcript Committee and await your approval. As an aside, I'd like to thank you all for your conversation last time we presented. If you'll recall, Ms. Tori Schilling from, Shriver from Arundel brought forth exercise science, and it was a great dialogue between you guys and our ideas, and we'd love to replicate that today. Joining me today are colleagues that are responsible for authoring these courses, and I'd like to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves, and we'll start with Mary Austin.
Good morning, Mary Austin, coordinator for the International Baccalaureate Pre-K through 12 Continuum.
Good morning, I'm Deb Kremer, coordinator of Career and Technology Education.
Good morning, Christiana Walsh, coordinator of Health, Physical Education, and Dance.
Good morning, Deb Marcus. I'm the Adapted Physical Education Resource Teacher.
Good morning, Nicole Deming, Dance Teacher Specialist.
Hi, good morning, Diane McGowan, Coordinator, Specially Designed Instruction, K-12.
Hi, good morning, I'm Allison Delaney, Coordinator of High School English.
We'd love to answer any questions you have or respond to clarify any concerns you might have at this time for any of the 5 courses before you.
Mr. Reinhardt.
I know you had an expectation I'd have a few questions, so I don't let you down, Mr. Lee.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd just like to say, again, we're in our role here is to give as many students an opportunity to succeed and find success in their own way. I'm thrilled to see the unified program here and giving our I am going to get weepy. I didn't get weepy for Tyson. I might get weepy about unified, so I'm going to skip that. So keep my stiff upper lip. So we'll look at IB MYP Design 6. I'm reading here in the needs assessment that this is one of 8 required courses in the middle years program. How long has that been the case?
That's been the case since the IB program started here in the school system in 2007 with the IB Middle Years program.
So how have we been in compliance without this program?
So currently we're offering the IB MYP Design Framework through Technology Education and FACS courses.
So why do we feel the need to add the additional courses?
I'm so glad you asked that question. So one of the goals of the IB program is to give students genuine opportunities to engage in what they're learning on a deeper level through taking action in their local and global communities. We feel like this IB MYP Design 6 class, which we framed through the UN Sustainable Development Goals, we've made connections through each of the core content areas the students are learning, for example, English language arts, social studies, science, math, etc. We're giving them genuine opportunities to springboard what they're learning and take action again in their neighborhoods across the world by looking at issues, problems, challenges that exist, designing solutions to address them, and take action.
I absolutely love the food desert challenge.
That's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, so I hear that we're going to be bringing in all of the other coursework they're doing into this class.
Correct.
Is that going to be reciprocated? Are we going to see IB Design 6 ideas in
Absolutely, absolutely. So we already see IB MYP Design Cycle used in History Day, Science Fair projects. We encourage all the teachers in our IB Middle Years program, grades 6 through 10, to apply the design process. The IB program is supposed to be very much focused on learning as a journey, not just the ultimate outcome, but what are students learning along the way? What are we learning based on our mistakes, our challenges, our course corrections? So absolutely, it's reciprocal.
Okay, I'm satisfied on that one. Let's take a look at strategic and effective literacy. So is this course, I'm looking over here. Okay, so for this course, I see it's English elective. So will a student get a half credit of English for participating in this program?
Yes.
So in the past, back in the HSA days, we had bridge projects. We used to be able to knock those out in 2 or 3 intensive days. How is the new bridge program different from that?
With the Common Core standards, the bridge projects have changed tremendously. They require a lot of work on the students' part and support from the teachers. So that's why we're addressing it in 11th grade with many of our students and hoping to get the bridge projects completed in 11th grade. And that will be in their English 11 class. But this will be in addition to that, one more opportunity for seniors.
So in the typical model with a student doing it outside of a class, how long does it take the typical kid to complete?
Most students who would be completing a bridge project would have difficulty completing it without a teacher monitoring their progress.
So let me rephrase. If a teacher mentor was somehow built into doing a bridge outside of a course with guidance, how long would it take?
We're finding that it takes about a quarter of the school year to complete the project.
Is that active time, or does that include teeth pulling?
Well, I can only speak to what's happening in the 11th grade class, so it's the English class, so they're not doing bridge every single day, but for part of the class they're doing it. So I'd say half of a class period for a quarter.
I see. So the existing models, they're doing it through their class.
Yes.
Okay. So I am sensitive to many of the wonderful electives that we offer through our high school comprehensive program, and I do feel strongly that anytime we offer a course for credit as a remediation, that we take opportunities away from kids to access those other electives. Mm-hmm. What other options are on the table for our students to complete bridge without interfering with those other courses, which quite honestly might be the primary reason they're in our schools?
Right. There won't be, for seniors, there won't be other opportunities. And I would prefer that it is done in an elective class rather than their English 12 class where we have a curriculum that they need to follow. So we've adapted the English 11 curriculum to meet the needs of the students who need to complete Bridge.
Right,
That's why this is the elective.
So what I'm hearing is that there is no other option for these students to complete a bridge project but through a scheduled course, whether it's English 11 or English 12 or this proposed semester course.
Yes, but schools are free to, if they would like for students to complete them during a nest period or, but so far, this year, this was our first year with Bridge. So what we've determined and seeing the progress that students have made and in scoring them, that the students are finding them very difficult. They're very challenging. Many of them have been sent back. So they need that time in a class. So that's why I'm trying to provide something in 11th grade to support them, and then again in their senior year if they need it. So it won't be a large population of students taking that elective course.
Will this half credit supplant the need to complete a full semester of English 12?
They will be taking their English 12 credit in addition.
So they would have 4.5 English credits at the end of their career. Okay. So for the public, with HSA, we used to be pass it, pass it, pass it, take it again, take it again, take it again, and then Bridge was a last resort.
Absolutely.
For Park, do our students have an opportunity to retake and retake and retake?
Yes, and for English, I won't speak to math, but for English, they are encouraged to take it as many times as they can't submit their Bridge project until they've taken and failed it twice.
Those rules have not changed.
Okay.
Going from HSA now transferring into Park, the rules where a student has to fail it twice before the Bridge can count. The idea is to get them involved with the Bridge, because Bridge is something that, with that one-on-one and the teacher, you saw it through the HSA period, HSA time when you were in the classroom. It really gives the opportunity of students to learn sort of one-on-one with that teacher in small group. So we're still encouraging through that process. They'll be retaking the Park along the way in both math and, in this case, English. But the rules have not changed. There still has to be 2 failures before they can use that as their graduation requirement.
It still feels that if we're going to offer this course in the 11th grade, that we're just throwing in the hat a year earlier than we may need to, that there's additional opportunities for those kids to be successful on Park.
Well, I think part of what was explained was that, and I certainly appreciate where you're coming from, it is an opportunity for that student at that school with those teachers to take advantage of, so they want to build it into their schedule, right? So our schedule allows, by the time, as you well know, they get to their senior year, most of our students only need to take 2 classes officially to get their diploma.
For now.
Right? For now. You said that.
No,
right?
I believe it was Ms. Davenport.
That said, this is an opportunity where they can build it into their schedule, where, as opposed to, I'm not sure that I have time or I can find time after school or during the school day. It's built into their schedule. It becomes really a part of what they're doing each and every day, and it's important. This is about their graduation requirement, and it's something they do need to meet in both math and in English.
Agreed. So are we going to be seeing a Math Bridge course coming across the desk?
Already have it. It's called Bridge Algebra 2. It's in place. It couples with Function Focus that Kevin and his team wrote last year, and it's in place, and we've seen a lot of success with that this year. So actually, Allison is following that lead, and that's been met with a lot of success.
Okay, take a year off and look what happens. So,
I'm just glad I knew the answer to your question.
Thanks, Mr. Lee. Last course, Intro to Cybersecurity and Networking, is. Hey, so is this specifically for CAT centers, or is this only CAT?
It is. It really goes with our current Cisco networking program. So what we see now is we have a 9th grade explorations program where students can sign up to experience 4 different completers at the center. They spend 4 weeks in each. That is really a great way to introduce students to a variety of things that they may not know about. What we found with Cisco networking and those really dedicated computer students is that they really want to get started in Cisco networking. They don't want to also try 4 weeks of cosmetology and 4 weeks of culinary. They want Cisco networking. And so what we're trying to do is to meet that demand and kind of really give them the challenge that they want is for one semester to offer it the regular way where students will pop in that aren't really sure what it looks like. But for those students who are coming to us really gung-ho, already have some experience, want to jump right into the Cyber Patriot and those challenges, this would be a course dedicated for them to get a little bit more of a head start in that curriculum.
So this is a semester-long course?
It is.
Okay, I didn't see that in the description. Okay. Is there any opportunity to offer this course at Meade, since one of their signatures is Homeland Security?
Not right now. I know that they're looking at a variety, and I know that they just received a grant. So we are looking at ways to certainly expand cybersecurity opportunities at Meade. But again, this particular course is part of our Cisco Networking Academy, and we already run that curriculum at Cat North and Cat South and have all of the infrastructure needed to support it. So this is just one additional opportunity.
Okay. So when I read through the description and the needs assessment of this particular course, it really comes across as the focus is to prepare students for competition. So what standards is the course based on?
Well, so Cisco, we use their curriculum. It's international curriculum for networking and cybersecurity. And students can earn through that program many industry certifications. They earn A+, Net+, Security+, CCENT, and CCNA. When they leave us, they can get a really well-paying job with companies that usually not only pay them well to be there, but pay for their college. So this is just kind of one of those head starts for that program where students who are already interested and they really want to get involved in the cyber challenges that we offer, it'll give them a head start. Not necessarily, they're not going to earn a specific industry certification in this, but it gives them the head start they need so that even during level 1, many of them will earn that A+. Some will leave with Net+ from level 1 before they start working towards the others.
And so what I'm hearing from you is something I'm excited about. On paper, it just focuses on we're going to compete, we're going to focus on competition subtypes, even goes so far as to say we're going to learn how to compete and what's necessary to compete. I hesitate to approve a course that doesn't necessarily list the skills, the standards that.
So I have all the units right here. If you wanted to see, you just get the abbreviated version, right? They start out with Intro to Cybersecurity. The second unit is about online safety and very important. Third unit is cyber ethics, what they can and cannot do. And then they do principles of cybersecurity, where they look at vulnerabilities, threats, exploits, risks, all of those kinds of things. They talk about hacking and, both types of hacking. And then they move into computer basics and virtualization, and they have some virtualization opportunities to look at cyber threats, what they look like, what they need to know a little bit about. Of course, this is still a very introductory course, so it doesn't go into a lot of detail of everything, but it's just to expose them to all the components that they will be going into. And so there are a total of 10 units. The last unit deals with security configurations. Unit 9 is Linux. So they get a glimpse at all of that. I mean, they need to know the background in order to participate in those. So this is, and I'll be happy to share that with you.
If you give it to Ms. Howell.
Can you give that?
Thanks. Thanks.
Sure.
Ms. Sasso.
Question on the Bridge to Strategic and Effective Literacy. Who are the students? What level we are addressing this course to?
Seniors.
Seniors?
Primarily seniors.
Are they foreign students?
Foreign?
Yeah.
In many,
non-English speaking?
Yes, in many cases they will be, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. On the IB class, will every student in the IB middle schools take this course?
Yes, just for clarification, the IB Middle Years program is a whole school program at our 3 middle schools and 3 high schools. So all students in grade 6, 7, and 8, in this case grade 6, will be taking this course.
And they'll be taking this course in lieu of what else?
In lieu of the current technology education and FACS course. So it's the course will be staffed by those current tech ed and FACS teachers.
Okay. All right. The unified dance and the unified PE. So am I understanding correctly that the unified dance class will provide a fine arts credit that can be used toward graduation requirements?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And so that will be for special needs students and regular students. They can both earn fine arts credit from that as well. This is an incredibly exciting class that's coming out there. We often say all means all, and that means every student. And so to have this opportunity for all of our students to take dance particularly, and then they have the other students be the peer leaders and teachers in there. My daughter's in 7th grade, and I was telling her about this course and saying, you will love this because she dances. And I said, doesn't that sound great? She said, yes. When can I take that? Is this going to be offered at every high school?
That is our hope, yes.
It's wonderful. These are exciting additions to the class. So,
Summer, I take our lead from the Unified Sports program, and this is our first effort to put it as a classroom credited opportunity for our students, and we do feel like this is the beginning of something very big.
and these are both semester-long classes?
Yes.
Okay, it's wonderful. Mr. Reinhardt.
This is a softball. So is there any other district out there that's doing a unified program like this in the schools?
So in Maryland, Frederick County is doing a unified physical activity course. There are no other courses that I know of that do the unified dance. Deb, do you want to speak to other counties in Minnesota?
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, throughout the state. So unified physical education, like unified sports, the Special Olympics can play a part in it. And so they have reached out to schools. There's a school in Minnesota, several school districts in Minnesota have embraced this course and are starting to write curriculum for it too. So it's kind of nationwide, but in a few scattered states.
Great. So we will have partners that we can work with to build that knowledge base.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Another piece of information, Mr. Reinhold, is nobody in the state of Maryland, and I would say the country, equals Anne Arundel County's dance program. And so this is just a natural extension of that opportunity that we afford our students. So it is, it's great for everybody.
I'm going to put out there right now that I want to come visit and see these classes in action, because I think this is just really exciting that we're putting out there. So are there any other board questions or comments? Is there any public comment? So all in favor of approving these courses? Motion passes. Thank you
all
very much.
Thank you.
These are great. We are going to jump back to 5.11, the ratification of the negotiated agreement between the Board of Education and the Association of Educational Leaders. Ms. Rawls. Oh, Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend board approval of the tentative agreement between the Board of Education and the Association of Educational Leaders.
Good morning, Ms. Hummer, Dr. Arlotto, and members of the board. The negotiating teams for the Board of Education and the Association of Educational Leaders, which is also referred to as AEL, have reached a tentative agreement for fiscal year 2019, subject to your approval today. In brief, the summary of changes as agreed upon by both parties include but are not limited to: 1 full step increase to eligible Unit 2 employees. In addition, all Unit 2 employees will receive a 2% COLA. An extension of the professional leave pilot program will occur for the 2018-2019 school year. And lastly, there are also modifications to the current FMLA negotiated agreement language. The changes to FMLA include implementation of a 1,250-hour work requirement, as well as a change to a rolling year requirement, and a job-protected alternative leave program has been implemented for employees who are ineligible for FMLA leave. The negotiating teams diligently work to reach an agreement that serves the best interest of AACPS, AEL members and supports their commitment to Anne Arundel County Public Schools students, staff, and community. I would like to thank Will Myers, the president of AEL, and Nelson Harine, vice president of AEL, for their dedicated effort during FY19 negotiations. On May 29, 2018, AEL ratified this agreement, and I respectfully request your approval and ratification of the noted summary of changes.
All right. Are there any board questions or comments? Is there any public comment? Ms. Rawls, thank you very much for all your hard work with all of this. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. All right. Am I in the right place now? Item. Okay. Okay. Item 5.03 is an action item, third reading for Policy Emergency Plans EH. Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend board approval. Oh, sorry. I may read the wrong one. 703. There we go. Yes, ma'am. I recommend board approval of policy EH, subject to final correction for style and format.
Okay. Are there any board questions or comments on this policy? Is there any public comment? All right, as this is the third reading, all those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 5.04 is an action item, pre-kindergarten and kindergarten programs, policy IFA. Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend board approval of policy IFA, subject to final correction for style and format.
Okay. Are there any board questions or comments on this policy? Is there any public comment? This is a third reading, so we have a final vote. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 5.05 is an information item. This is a second reading for policy GAD, confidential communication, reporting of at-risk student behavior. The 30-day public comment period ended on June 2nd. Were there any public comments?
For the record, Bob Mosier, Chief Communications Officer. There were no public comments.
Okay. Are there any board questions or comments on this policy? Any public comment? Okay, this we will have vote on this at the next meeting.
Correct.
For third reading.
Correct.
So, all right, thank you. Item 5.06 is policy GAII, staff wellness. This is also a second reading. The 30-day public comment period ended June 2nd. Was there any public comment?
No public comment.
No public comment. Are there any board questions or comments on this item? Any public comment? Ms. Reese, looking forward to the farmers market opening on the 18th. June 18th. So, all right, but this one will go out and we will have final vote on this at the next meeting.
Correct.
Okay. Item 5.07 is also an information item, policy IIF, high school courses taken by middle school students. This is first reading of the policy.
For the record, Bob Mosier, Chief Communications Officer, joined by Michelle Batten from the Division of Curriculum and Instruction. Division of Curriculum and Instruction is bringing policy IIF, high school courses taken by middle school students, before you for first reading. This policy was last revised on November 4th, 2018. The updated policy has been revised to ensure that credit is awarded to a middle school student taking a course for which a high school student would be awarded credit in accordance with state regulations. Policy will be posted on our website for 30 days for public comment, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Are there any board questions or comments on this policy? Is there any public comment? All right, this will be posted for 30 days. All right, and that's all our policies. Item 5.09 is an information action item. Do I have a motion to move this from information to action? All those in favor? Okay, Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend board approval of the Forest Conservation Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions at Solly Elementary School.
All right. Are there any questions or comments on this Forest Conservation Declaration? Mr. Reinhardt.
Thank you, Madam President. So in reviewing the plans for the forest conservation easement, is this, do these currently represent all of the existing forested areas on these property? No.
No, for the record, I'll check. No. So there's a computational methodology that you have to preserve a certain percentage of the site depending on your impervious area, et cetera. So the county's got computations. Our site civil engineers worked at mathematics and identify which area and which is the most appropriate area and how much needs to be put into a conservation easement.
So we will be losing forested area as part of the construction?
Correct. This is the second, it's important to note for Solid Elementary School, this is now the second edition. So we had the original building, one edition, now the second edition. They're experiencing a tremendous amount of growth, and, we've pretty much maxed out to our property lines out there.
Yeah. So to the best of your knowledge, this is the maximum amount of forested area that we can keep?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Are there any other board questions or comments? Is there any public comment? All those in favor? All right. Item 5.10 is an information action item. Do I have a motion to move from information to action? All those in favor? Dr. Arlotto, your recommendation.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend board approval of the Forest Conservation Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions at Maryland City Elementary School.
Okay. Are there any board questions or comments on this Forest Conservation Declaration? Is there any public comment? All right. All those in favor? Motion passes. Item 6.01 are review items, award of contracts. Are there any board questions or comments regarding these items? Mr. Reinhardt.
Oh, I'm that guy today. All right. So looking at awards 6 through 8, what is the anticipated distribution of each of those contracts? Mathematics, materials and instructions, opinion, information, narrative writing, reading and writing strategies, books.
So I'm actually not sure your question. I mean, they're course specific, so they're going to be distributed based on the enrollments. We get information from, they all go into the warehouse. Folks take these electives or these classes. We get enrollment figures from the Office of School Performance, and then we distribute these units out to the schools depending on how many youngsters. The course enrollments, as you know, take place in the spring, so there's enough time for that data to be aggregated and shipped to our logistics department such that that we can have the books there in time for September opening.
Great. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that so everything's going out to schools. They're going to be in students' hands. Do we know if there's associated professional development plan for any of these?
Again, that would come out of our curriculum instruction, but typically there is a teacher set of this that has additional information above and beyond what goes to the students. So it's that, and then whatever professional development they may deploy out of C&I for them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to give them the arrows and then not give them the bow.
And there is professional development planned.
There is.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Any public comment? All right. So that concludes our meeting. The next general meeting of the board will be 10 a.m. Wednesday, June 20th. The next policy meeting is Wednesday, June 13th at 1 p.m. The next budget committee meeting is Wednesday, June 20th, 1 hour after public session ends. Mr. Gilliland.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the board go into closed session to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on a legal matter and to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or consider matters that relate to the negotiations.
All those in favor? Meeting is adjourned.